Hello, I'm Sonia West reporting for Sanjha TV. We are here in Richmond. It is a beautiful sunny day to match the campaign of Parm Bains. He is running for Richmond East-Steveston. It's a re-elect Parm Bains because he's trusted by this community before, and here he is again. So we're going to go talk to him today and talk about the issues that matter to Canadians and why he is the choice. So let's take you inside and talk to Parm Bains.
As your MP, I got things done, securing over $640 million for jobs, housing, and essential services in Richmond. I stand for controlled spending, more competition, and unlocking entrepreneurship to pay for the services Canadians deserve. Tax relief for our workforce, encouraging side hustle investments to get ahead, and a government that listens. It's time to build together because we're strong, Canada strong.
Now we're going to talk to Parm Bains, Richmond East-Steveston MP, re-elect. This time we're going to talk to you about all of the issues that matter to all of your constituents. So what are the most pressing issues in your community?
What I'm hearing mostly right now is the threat to their jobs. If you look at what's taking place, of course, I think everybody watches day to day on live TV what Donald Trump is doing with respect to the tariffs and applying them to not only Canada but around the world. It is an uncertain time, and if you look at for Canadians, especially here in Richmond, this community is a logistical hub. It's a gateway city. It has everything from the rail network to the port network to the airport. So the movement of goods and not only the movement of goods, but anything to do with that is situated here. We have technology, research, innovation, a lot of different companies, especially in my riding of Richmond East-Steveston. Okay. So I think at the doorstep, people are concerned what that means to their jobs and how we're going to combat the issues around that. So right now, I think people are also comfortable that Mark Carney is the one that's already made some strong decisions in the weeks leading up to the election, and also some of the decisions that he's made right now while the election is actually going on. So those negotiations will continue, but that's something that I'm hearing the most at the doorstep.
Okay. Tell me a bit about yourself. Why you and about this area? Did you grow up in this area? Why are you the one that should be representing this area here?
Yeah, I mean, this is this city raised me. So I grew up in this city, and I played soccer as a youth here, and I continued to be surrounded by the sports community. I've coached thousands of kids in this city, and I continue to sort of be involved, even though I'm now an MP and you don't have that much time. But my son plays. Other than that, my passion for this city, I've looked at so many different things, and where people that I grew up with started moving out. So I got passionate about the issues around housing and affordability in this city. And I had experience working in the BC government, so understanding issues and how to tackle or find solutions around challenges, policy. So that's sort of where I learned it. But why I'm the right person for this area? Because I've proven it. In a little bit over 3.5 years, I was able to bring $640 million worth of local investment here. And I touched on the fact that we had Richmond's a gateway city, and a lot of those investments were put towards things like our supply chain corridor, cargo expansion. If you look at our port, the federal government, we've increased the port size, and we have finally approved that project that took a considerable amount of time to approve. So now that means we have made foundational investments, and especially here in Richmond, everything from national defense. We celebrated the 100-year anniversary of Boeing Canada here, and that national defense procurement of the aircraft, over 200 suppliers are Canadian, and that investment came here as well. So it's a lot of things that we need to do here with respect to if we want to build more homes. I also got an agreement done with the city under the Municipal Accelerator Fund and the Rapid Housing Initiative. So we've done housing for affordable housing for people who need it the most, women and women with children. That already got built within 18 months. And now the Municipal Accelerator Fund has 8 different items that were attached to it to create gentle density, meaning we can build more on with less land. So maybe splitting,
Building up.
building up or splitting properties into a large property where you can do a duplex or a fourplex or even sixplex. So this kind of solution has already been implemented, and the city has changed zoning to allow for that. And beyond that, e-permitting, because we know that the development community would have projects that would sit there for so long at their own cost, and then reducing the GST before they sell. So these are some important decisions that already have been made, and that investment's been brought here. And right now, you're standing in Steveston Village, and this is a cornerstone of our community here, where the fishing community is still very strong. It's over 400 fishermen here. Plus 40 other businesses on our harbor. It's the largest commercial fishing harbor in Canada, and it was under threat because due to climate events, many of the boats were grounding because of silt and sand buildup in the river. So for over a decade, no investment was made in dredging the river, and I was able to work together with all levels of government and come to the table and bring dollars to get that done as well. And there's 100 million pounds of seafood that's offloaded at this harbor. Wow. And the direct economic impact to the region is over $200 million. So it was a small amount of dollars, and no one had done that in over a decade, and I was able to bring that and unlock that work as well. So to me, I think we need to keep goods moving and things moving in this city, allowing businesses to scale up, and a lot of those dollars went to that. But at the same time, I told you about my growing up here and my passion for sports. We were also able to bring active living dollars here. There's a multi-use pathway on Steveston Highway that's creating a lot of traffic right now.
There seems to be a bit of a seniors population in this area. So there's something there for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So through various programs of the active living programs, there's more injection of funds into our activity centers, our leisure centers. And so those dollars were brought in, new facility, a soccer facility at the Olympic Oval. And based on the seniors' request, there's a request for a walkway, a safe walkway and a walking path that I'm trying to work on moving forward for King George Park by 5 and Canby area. And that's a project that we've got a lot of feedback and input from that area, the seniors that live in that area. And that's coming up next.
So you touched on safety there, talking about seniors and the path for them to have a safe area for them to walk. Tell me about the safety of this area. I walked through this area. It seems very safe to me. It's a beautiful area. How is it here as far as crime in this area specifically?
I think we have a tremendous RCMP, Richmond RCM Police Force, and we've been able to work closely with them to understand data. What are people saying and what threats are here? And, you have your general petty theft or petty crimes that do take place, but generally Richmond is an extremely safe city. It's something that we want to maintain. So a lot of investments actually gone into our police force as well. We'll continue to give them more tools and resources to combat the bigger things, like whether it's organized crime, but even the smaller investment to building safer communities through that program. I was able to bring some money for the RCMP to work with the city to ensure that the young people have a pathway to understand if they're at risk or and they need wraparound services. So there is that as well. That's making sure that there's a level of education that's happening within the community, and and I'll say that we here have a very strong community network with all agencies, our supports and services, whether it's mental wellness. We have Chimo, who is operating the 988 crisis line here, and that's other investment that we brought here.
Can you tell me a bit about that? Because you did mention mental health, and that's a huge topic, especially in the South Asian community. We don't talk about it. It's in every community, but our community doesn't seem to talk about it. But in general, mental health, it's, everyone's suffering in silence a lot of the time. What would you say to that? And is there funding around that, or have you done anything in the past, or elaborate on that?
Yeah, so the agreement that the large health transfers that used to take place between provinces and the federal government, we've modified and modernized that. Instead, we do focused funding. So it's a sort of, you may have heard before Minister LeBlanc mention with strings attached, because we need to make sure that we see results. So there is, at this point, the agreement that we have, it's a large agreement with BC, pointed investments into mental wellness, surgeries, seniors care, and all of these areas. So beyond that, in Richmond specifically, the agreement with Chimo, who provides mental wellness services, is operating the 988 crisis line. So there's other agencies that we continue to work with here, and Pathways and others that do a tremendous job to make sure that they can have people have access to them and get the care that they need. But like you mentioned, talking about it, and I think there's so many different campaigns that the federal government supports, but we've seen even the corporations come forward. There's the Bell Let's Talk, there's the athletes, there's mental wellness for athletes through our athletes assistance program. So I think that we, at this point, as Canadians and especially diaspora communities, they need to be able to receive the messages. So we need to get it to them and continue that along those lines. And I think something that I supported also was it's a policy idea that when I worked in the BC government that I put forward. It's about combating illicit substance and really finding the root causes, but educating the public. Right. And I believe that we need a national ad campaign that's sustainable, that continues, and is regularly, it's fully funded, and it doesn't stop, where you can continue to educate people about these things, mental wellness, using illicit substance, which can increase the negative impact of mental wellness.
I think you're absolutely right. Any education in any way at all will help to alleviate any problems that, potential problems that there could be in any facet. So mental health and drugs and anything like that. So knowledge is power, as they say. Yeah. Tell me about immigration. Immigration is always a hot topic all the time for every party, not just the Liberals, but every party that's in this race. What would you say about immigration and your stance on immigration? And is there an immigrant population here in Richmond area?
Well, yeah, Richmond is an extremely diverse city, and we always say, Canada was built on immigration. The level of immigration and the need for it is necessary because we need to continue to grow our economy, right? But how we control it and how our systems work, we have to continue to work on those measures. But the federal government is in the demand business. If you look at every province, they're the ones who determine what labor needs they have in those provinces. So they provide us with information, and they say we need this many labor market assessments, and then we can open it up to them. And I look at Alberta, for example, has grown in the last, with their population, just probably one of the provinces you've seen been attracting immigration. And they just not only 10 months ago asked for 37,000 labor market assessments. So for federal government, we need to continue to work with our provincial partners, and this also applies to our universities. The universities say we are increasing X amount of seats, and we need to attract some immigration because it allows for them to create investment into the university research development with those dollars. So, and again, students apply to universities, they accept them, and then they ask us to process them. So, I think there's a lot of misinformation and fear around immigration that's been created. But I think Canadians understand that we do need it, and they want it to be controlled better, and that's the focus that we have, right? I mean, you also have to understand there's over 120 different conflicts around the world, and Canada is one of the greatest countries in the world. Everybody wants to come here, and they're trying to find different pathways, whether it's through human trafficking and jumping borders and these kinds of things. So we're combating those challenges. At the same time, we need to make sure our systems can process properly, and we need to also ensure that the countries that these people are coming from are being truthful in who's coming, because they're providing clearances on their end, security clearances, and then we're having to deal with these people when they come here, maybe under false pretenses. So it's not a easy thing to deal with, but that's what governments have to combat. We're constantly dealing with things like, immigration, growing populations, economy, and all of the things that are important to all Canadians, and that's what the work is.
Okay. Your slogan is Canada Strong. What does that mean? What is Canada Strong? Tell us about that.
Well, it just means that Canadians understand, it's an opportunity for them to understand that we can be our own masters of on a global scale, and we're going to grow this country in the right way, and we don't really need others to rely on. I think Canada became very comfortable in the partnership that we had with the United States, and I look at it as an opportunity. And if you look at what Mark Carney has already done as a Prime Minister, he made very quick decisions right before the election. He opened up labor mobility across the countries, across the nation, and also trucking regulations across the nation. And if you can, most Canadians may not know, we have barriers between provinces on what products can go where, and that needs to open up. Beyond that, we've had great investments by the Premier of Manitoba into the port of Churchill in Hudson Bay. So I think west to east, east to west, north and south of within our country, we have a lot of opportunity. We'll work on that moving forward. And beyond that, we have 50 plus different countries that are strong allies of ours that we have trade negotiations with, trade agreements with, and we'll focus on those. And we have strong allies in the European Union. We'll focus on those areas, and that's why Canada is strong.
Right. Very well said. Thank you. If there's a message you want to give to the people that are watching, your voters potentially, and the world, you can give them your message now.
The only message I really have is make sure you get out and vote. I'm committed to this community. I've grown up here my whole life, and I've focused on the key priorities of this community, and I've proven it with $640 million of local investment that impacts the lives of every Richmond resident, and I'll continue to work in that way with all levels of government seamlessly. I work in a nonpartisan manner, and I get along with everyone. So I work with everyone and with everyone. So make sure you get out and vote. That's all I can say.
Thank you so much.
As your MP, I got things done, securing over $640 million for jobs, housing, and essential services in Richmond. I stand for controlled spending, more competition, and unlocking entrepreneurship to pay for the services Canadians deserve. Tax relief for our workforce, encouraging side hustle investments to get ahead, and a government that listens. It's time to build together because we're strong, Canada strong.
So that was our interview with Parm Bains, who wants to be re-elected for this area. Let's see what happens in the election. Stay watching Sanjha TV. I'm your host, Sonia West. We'll see you again next time.